On this edition of Lexington Now, part 2 of our 2021 Year in Review. I'm Neil Noah, and welcome to Lexington Now for part 2 of our Year in Review 2021. We pick up with the fire department's celebration of 150 years serving Lexington.
With humor, the Lexington Fire Department started in Lexington, Kentucky. In reality, back in 1775, a settler named William McConnell actually settled here along a spring and ended up naming this place Lexington after the famous Revolutionary War in Massachusetts. And then in 1790, the prominent members of the community at that time ended up meeting at a place called Brent's Tavern, and they ended up forming what they called the Lexington Fire Company. And a gentleman by the name of John Bradford was actually voted to be in charge of that company moving forward. So 1790, the Lexington Fire Company is formed, and in 1798, the Union Fire Company is formed. So now you have two different companies operating under the umbrella of the Lexington Fire Department, but it's really two separate departments at that time. About 50 years later, in 1839, another company was formed, and that was called the Lyon Fire Company, and that was initiated and started by several firefighters who were already on the previous two. They ended up breaking off and forming that third company called the Lyon Company. Moving forward in 1864, a guy by the name of John R. Lackins ended up becoming the first paid fire chief of the Lexington Fire Department. And the next year, in March, Lexington's first steam-powered engine was introduced onto the department. In 1871, two major fires occurred in August. The first began in a Barnes & Woods drugstore at the corner of Main and Upper. A few days later, a second fire, this one near the corner of Main and Broadway, eventually destroyed more than half of a block between Main and Short. Later that fall, the vacant Lyon engine house. So remember, there was the Lexington Fire Company, and then you had the Union, and then you had the Lyon Fire Company. So the Lyon engine house, by this time they had probably merged into one, so that house was now vacant, ended up being sold with its remaining equipment, and the property of J.M. Tipton, located on Short Street between Limestone and Upper, was actually purchased for a meager $6,500. And this became the original central fire station for the Lexington Fire Department. So currently in Lexington, it is the summer of 2021. We have 24 fire stations throughout Fayette County. The 24 fire stations, they cover 285 square miles, and they serve a population of almost 328,000 citizens located here in Fayette County. Within those 24 fire stations, including support bureaus and administrative positions, we have an authorized strength of 597 members, plus an additional 28 civilians. So we're sitting right around 630 total members with the Lexington Fire Department right now. On an average day, we're looking anywhere from 125 to over 200 calls. On a yearly basis, which is typically how we measure our incident response rates, we're pushing right around 60,000. I think in 2020 we were at 57,000. 46,000 plus was attributed to the EMS, the medical side of our response, and then just over 11,000 incidents were attributed to our fire response. The fire department is far more than just putting out fires. Modern day fire service actually has become an all hazards organization. It's a business, and businesses that fail to adapt to the community and the society that they're in tend to fail. And we can see that in any normal business besides the fire service. And so the fire service has continued to adapt and adjust. For example, we've added policies and protocols and equipment related to active shooters and active aggressor situations because of recent events in the last 10 to 20 years. Our services have broadened exponentially over the years as well. Fighting fires is actually some of the smallest amount of things that we do. As I mentioned previously, our EMS runs, or our medical calls, rank 47,000 every year, as opposed to our fire incidents at just around 11,000 a year. But that's not just what we do. Yes, medical is a big part of it, and emergency response is a critical aspect of it, but we also do fire prevention, we do fire inspections, we do public education, we do school visits, we have our own fleet maintenance and our own facilities maintenance bureaus that take care of all of our buildings and all of our apparatus. Big apparatus like fire trucks, and small fleet like Explorers and Corollas and Traverses. We have our own fire investigation bureau, and they investigate the origin and cause of fires in order to make not only citizens in the community safer, but also firefighters who have to respond to these types of fires.
The Kentucky Theater became a victim of the pandemic in 2020, but in September came big news about its return.
So today I am officially recommending that the management contract for the Kentucky Theater be awarded to the Friends of the Kentucky Theater. Yes. As the sign back here says, we are looking forward to the reopening of the Kentucky soon. Friends of the Kentucky. In the bid they submitted to win this contract, the Friends made it very clear that they have some exciting new plans for this theater, and they are keeping the fan favorites in place. One of those would be the popcorn, right, Fred? Today marks a new era for Main Street's grand old lady as she prepares to start a year that will mark her second century. Think about that. Yes. The Kentucky Theater opened in October of 1922. She has had a life filled with ups and downs, including a devastating fire in 1987. She benefited from the management of Fred Mills, Annalise Scorsoni, and Howard Stovall for many years. The Kentucky has survived. In fact, she has thrived. And she is now a much beloved fixture here on Main Street. As Fred once said in a story in the Herald Leader, our goal is to keep the Kentucky Theater going for all time. And to that I say amen, Fred. Amen. Yeah.
As the mayor said, our goal is to continue the best traditions of the Kentucky Theater while introducing innovations and initiatives that will make the theater even more dynamic as it enters its second century. We have a lot of ideas, but I want to tell you just a bit about 5 of them. 1, we will be operating the theater as a nonprofit. The theater has always functioned as a for-profit venture, but we think nonprofit status is essential, and 95% of art houses across the country agree with this because they're all nonprofits. Because of the impact of COVID in particular, fundraising is going to be very, very important. And nonprofit status is essential to fundraising since obviously donations to a nonprofit are tax deductible. And nonprofit status will also allow us to pursue grant funding for new projects and programs. 2, just as soon as we possibly can, we will establish a membership program. A feature at almost every art house we looked at, membership programs offer benefits like discounted tickets and concessions and member-only events in exchange for a small annual fee that helps support our work. 3, we will redouble the theater's commitment to search out the best in both first-run and repertory film, and we're equally committed to reaching the diverse communities that make up Lexington. 4, with at least 7 screening venues in and around downtown Lexington, we think Lexington is ripe for an international film festival. We look forward to providing leadership to make that happen. And we think the theater is the natural hub for an event we are calling the Kentucky Film Festival. 5. Now, this won't happen this year, and it may not happen next year, but we're very excited about adding a small screening room to this downtown film center. Sometimes called micro cinemas, these screening rooms have been used by art houses across the country to increase both the quantity and the diversity of the films they are able to program. We think this is a strategy that would work at the Kentucky. A third small screen would allow us to nearly double the number of films we are able to show, and a third small screen means we can be bolder in programming films aimed at more diverse audiences.
This partnership between longtime advocates of the theater and LFUCG will once again open the doors of our beautiful and historically important building to the public for films, for concerts, for gallery openings, and for private events, which I know that especially after the year we've had, or the year and a half we've had, we're all ready for that.
Well, we are hoping that perhaps December 1 will be our opening date. We've got a lot of things to get in place before then, and of course we've got COVID numbers. Hopefully they are trending downward now, and we'll be able to stick with that date. So we're not going to write it in stone just yet, but that's the date we're shooting for. And if everything aligns, then we'll be open and have some holiday movies down here for you.
Well, we will see you all in December for the movies, right? And the popcorn. Thank you.
After the break, major sporting news. Welcome back to Lexington Now. In October, it was announced that Lexington would be awarded a new professional sports franchise.
Now, 4 years ago when we announced this new league, there was a community that absolutely got the USL's attention, and that was Lexington, Kentucky. And I can say, having launched many clubs over the last decade, we know the foundation to success starts with a committed ownership group that have deep local ties and have a passion to make their community a better place to live, work, and play through the sport of soccer. Now, as our team at the league office spent more and more time engaged with Bill, with Stephen, and with the Tower Hill Sports Group, it became clearer and clearer to us through each conversation that we had that their vision to deliver a generational asset to this community that would benefit a diverse group was absolutely in line with the USL's mission to bring the global game to the widest possible audience. Now, we know this region has a storied history when it comes to sports, whether that's at the racetracks, the high schools, or the college athletics programs, and we now know that professional soccer will write itself into that history as well. So we're excited for Bill and Stephen and the team behind them as we watch their vision come to life here in Lexington and all the benefits that this team is going to bring to the wider community far beyond what happens on the field. Ladies and gentlemen, some of the best moments in my job at this league office is when I get to come to communities like this and have the privilege and the great responsibility with my team here to be able to bring the world's game to a new community. So with that, I would like to ask Bill if you would mind joining me at the podium. Bill, on behalf of myself and everyone at the United Soccer League, it is my pleasure to announce the formal awarding of a franchise in USL League One to the city of Lexington. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll be playing in 23 with our team, and we have a group together that really works well together. The USL has been wonderful, very supportive, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. This is family entertainment. We'll have a chance to enjoy the sport, learn more about it, and I'm really, really excited about what we're doing here. So look forward to the questions later, but, you know, suffice it to say that we're going to have a soccer team here, and it's going to be a pro soccer team, and we're going to win the games. I'm very competitive, in case you don't know. So this is going to be a winning team. Thank you.
We are so honored that League President Jake Edwards, where did you go? There you are, is with us this morning. Thank you so much for being here. And Senior Vice President Stephen Short, and the United Soccer League for selecting Lexington to be the newest city to have a team competing in USL League One. As mayor, I look at this announcement through an economic development lens. This is the type of quality of life addition that will help us attract and grow new jobs. This club will also create jobs, which we are very excited about. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that we have a built-in audience for soccer here. Soccer is the world's game, the game that so many across the globe grow up watching and playing. Thanks to all of you. Thank you to those of you who have come to support this great announcement. And now let's go win some more championships. Congratulations.
November marked a milestone for Bluegrass Airport.
We're actually celebrating 75 years of air service here in Central Kentucky. 75 years ago this November, Delta Airlines and Eastern Airlines landed their first flight here in Lexington. Obviously, that was a very exciting day for this community, and we're excited that 75 years later, we're very strong, and we have great support here with our local community. It was a lot different than probably what you would see here today. We are actually in a different terminal building, located just a couple hundred feet from where we are now, but it was a lot smaller. In fact, a lot of folks who have memories of going through that airport will remember just a very large one open space, and then actually a baggage claim that was outside of the airport. So folks, when they needed to get their bag when they came in from a flight, would go outside. And when we look back at historical pictures of those days, we see picket fences around the airport and none of the security perimeters and stuff that you would see today. You know, we started off with just a couple of flights, needless to say, and now we are up to at least 40 departures each day. So big changes certainly that have happened over the years. Airlines have changed and come and gone over the years. There's been a lot of acquisitions in the market. So things have definitely had a very different feel back in the day. We have a total of approximately 1.4 million passengers that come through the airport. Now that was pre-COVID numbers, so things are a little bit different right now as the air service industry recovers, but that's on the commercial side. Now keep in mind there's a lot that happens at an airport besides just the commercial flights. So for instance, we have private aviation, we have horse transport, medevac services, flight training schools. So there's a lot of different things that go on this 1,000-acre property that the average person might not see on a day-to-day basis. People tend to just think of that commercial flight. They don't realize all the different things that go on, but there's some very important things such as life-saving flights that come through here. And you know, that's extremely important for this community. We rely on those services, and that's not something that people think of every day when they think of the airport. The airport is always planning ahead. Obviously, we're a large entity. We need to make sure that we're supporting our community with appropriate air service. And so we actually do a 20-year master planning process, and we're getting ready to start that actually in a couple months. So it'll be a great activity for us to undergo. We work with all the different partners here on the property to determine what they would like to see at the airport. And we also bring the general public into that study as well. So we will be having outreach with the public to discuss what does this airport look like in 20 years. And that's such a crucial and important task for us to do, because we obviously have to plan ahead and make sure we're anticipating what is going to come in the future. One thing I would definitely recommend is checking our website, bluegrassairport.com, because we have a series of oral histories on the website. We had interviewed approximately about a dozen people who have come through this airport or had a major role with this airport over the years. And it's great to hear some of those stories that they tell. Their airport actually used to be an airport basketball team back in the day. We, of course, have had so many dignitaries that have come through this airport. The Queen of England has come through several times. We've had almost every sitting president come through, lots of celebrities, and so there's some great stories. In particular, one thing that's always fascinating to the public as well is horse transport. A lot of people don't think of how does a horse get from A to B. It's a great area to better understand because really we have these airplanes that have about 20 stalls in it. It's almost like a barn when you go inside of it. So it really is a fascinating industry, and there's definitely a lot out there that the average person probably doesn't think about. About 5 or 6 years ago, we actually produced an airport history book, and it gives a great overview of all the things that have happened at this airport over the years. And a lot of those stories we have now put online as well. So certainly, we recommend to people to look at those resources. That book is actually in most of our local libraries here in Lexington, so it is available if you would like to look through it. But it's got some great old historic photos of the airport that you might not see every day, as well as just some good stories as well.
Also in November, there came major news for the Housing Stabilization Fund.
Overall, the program has had an amazing impact. Since March, nearly $75 million in assistance payments have gone out, including more than $67 million in rental assistance. $67 million. And $8.4 million in utility assistance. And we're getting better at doing it. Last month alone, the program paid out more than $18.2 million in assistance, which is our monthly record. Overall, the program assistance went to more than 20,000 individual payments that helped nearly 15,000 households. Think about that, 15,000 families having that extra security of knowing that they're going to be able to open that door and that shelter will be there. The average assistance per household was just above $5,000. The program has been absolutely essential in our fight against COVID-19 that can take people from us or harm people among us in so many ways. So I want to be clear. Ensuring that folks have stable homes and ability to distance or isolate during the pandemic doesn't just keep them safe, it keeps everybody safe. A new team that's taking over the Housing Stabilization Fund is a team we know really well. That is the Community Action Council. This and other 22 community action agencies across Kentucky have been on the front lines of the pandemic, but they are on the front lines of so many challenges every day. They're helping individuals and families recover from the impacts. Whether it's expanding hours at food pantries, operating a winter shelter for the homeless, or using neighborhood centers like this one to serve as hosts for vaccine clinics, Community Action Council has been steadfast in its commitment to helping Kentuckians make it through, and make it through in a way that allows that bright future.
If we've learned anything from COVID-19 and the pandemic, it is the power of partnerships. And in this case, the partners included the local, the state, and the federal governments, and organizations like Community Action Council. By working together, we've been able to accomplish so much. We started the fund in September of 2020 with a local investment of $1,400,000 from our city's general fund. Our program received $11.7 million through the state that has provided a great boost to support our community. So thank you again, Governor. And then the federal government has provided $17.3 million. In all, our program has received $30.4 million in support. Since its start in late 2020, the program here in Fayette County has helped approximately 1,600 households with rent and utility payments. We will soon have discussions with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the U.S. Department of the Treasury. They have seen the good work we've done here in Fayette County and want to collect best practices from our program to share with programs all across the country. And that is a success we can be very proud of.
This is what the heart of community action really is. It's what we're all about. It's what we're designed to do. Creatively help the community in the times of need and then pave a way forward towards stability. That's what we do. Every single day, that's what we do. During a pandemic and even when we're not in a pandemic. And that's why I'm so glad and pleased that we've arrived at this moment today. After many months of working in tandem with the city to provide financial assistance to renters facing eviction and the landlords, what is important for the public to know is that from your vantage point, things are not going to change very much. Now, what I really mean by this is that anyone that is living in Lexington, Fayette County and facing the threat of eviction due to COVID-19 related issues, the best and quickest place to turn to receive help is still the website, which is covid19rentershelp.org. That web address is the same address that we were using with the city. Once you go to that web address, it will redirect you to Community Actions page. So we try to make the transition as seamless as possible. So I don't want people to think that a lot is going to be changing or the rules are changing. They're not. We're ready, we are ready, and staying ready to help everyone.
We hope that you enjoyed our look back over the year that was 2021 and that you have a blessed 2022. That's all for now, but as always, you can keep up with us on social media. Check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter at LexRex or catch our live traffic cams on lexingtonky.gov. We at Lex TV wish you a very happy new year. I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.